Yeah, last time everyone was in their food coma from the Dominican feast, so they were I know everyone was is highly anticipating this very interesting and important data presentation, but this is actually one of my favorite presentations because as we talked about earlier, it's one of the big investment areas that we have been focused on for a long time, but that is really starting to come to fruition with the vision that Steph has set out for the team and kind of pitched us on since the beginning. So with me today, I'm very happy that Steph is up here, our strategy and analytics director, and I'm also very happy to introduce Jarvis, who you guys just heard from e-commerce, but now we have fintech, we have government, we have a pretty complex business model, and Jarvis, who has a lot of experience in the industry. Don't let his young face fool you. He's been in this industry for 25 years now.
25 years and
There you
counting.
go. So I'll ask Jarvis if you wouldn't mind giving just a quick background on Classwallet, on your role, what you do as the SVP of Ops.
Thank you. Classwallet is the payment provider for government funds when it comes to education and compliance. So if there is a program that's designed to get money in the hands of students, teachers, educators, or any type of service related in this program, Classwallet facilitates that through our e-commerce and marketplace platform. There's about 217,000 teachers in the U.S. today, and 109,000 have Classwallet accounts. 27 million students, and we have about 14 million students that we are providing on our platform funding for. Started in 2014, our CEO, who was a former attorney, was dating a teacher. He went in class one time and see how underfunded they were, and he decided to quit law and to go into create a platform where students could get the funding that they needed to drive education forward. And that's what actually sold me on the company.
Yeah, and actually a fun fact about Classwallet, my elementary school was one of the first schools on the platform. So it's a nice story.
It is so funny about that because they are a free elementary school on the platform in perpetuity. And our CEOs, kind of like Jose here, he wanted to sign up. He like, we'll give it to you. We just need you on the platform. We'll give it to you free forever. So our free client on the platform ever causes us the most problems too, by the way.
There you go. Well, good. Well, when we were discussing this panel with Jarvis, we knew that he would be able to produce some good talking points around data. He's obviously very data driven. He's run workforce teams. He's built a lot of custom dashboards and helped us with our product as well. But he said, I'm in to do the panel, and this is what I want the topic to be. So great partnerships are centered around great data. So Jarvis, do you mind telling us a little bit more about what you meant by this?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for 26 years. A funny story, like a career day in school, you see firefighters, you see politicians, policemen, lawyers, doctors, attorneys. You never see customer service or anything like that. I work in a call center, and I got to a call center in an unorthodox way. I blew out my knee playing college football. I thought I was going to the NFL. And on the way home from physical therapy, there was a now hiring sign at the largest BPO in the world, the evil empire Teleperformance. So my mom literally pulls in and said, "You need a job." And it's like 2 days before Christmas, and she drops me off. I fill out this long application, take a test, and then I was like, here I go. And the rest of my life, I'm doomed to a cubicle, a dark cubicle like that. But in that, I was able to find value. Those are the faces of major brands. So your AT&Ts, your Verizons, your Ritz-Carltons and things like that. And I was able to find a passion for that with people. But one thing that was always common is the data and what drives around it. And common metrics are service levels, productivity. That's not what gives a great partnership. We could give you that because it's all about cost and things like that. It's what's the insight behind that data? How can we leverage that data to develop a better customer experience? And that's what Jared and I was able to form when he came. Hey, I got a data team. You got a what? A data team? Talk sexy to me. Okay.
Exactly. Well, I'll let Steph give the details on that note.
So I really love that quote, by the way, Jarvis. I think it resonates a lot with what we work on here at Horatio, and also particularly the SNA team. And how do we do that, right? How do we go from just data insights to action and really leverage and harness the power of data? So a couple of examples, and there are so many, but I'll just do a couple. We had this client that wanted to really just efficiently allocate the resources. So what do? We just looked really quickly correlation between busiest times and scheduling. And just by doing that and kind of keeping tabs on that and working together on that, we were able to together achieve a 30% increase in call SLA. So just with that alone, and other factors, of course, but that's one example. Another one is sometimes we're looking at CSAT scores, right? And we're like, why in this particular time period, or with a couple of changes I've made to policies and procedures, why am I getting such low CSATs? For this particular client, by analyzing the data, we were able to see that their window was too short for replacements and refunds. So by tackling this, we were able to increase the CSAT scores for this ticket type from 3.2 to 4.6. So those are like a couple of examples. There are others, and I'm sure Jarvis will walk you through, when we look at the dashboard, how the dashboard has helped him and his team, particularly for Classwallet. But I also wanted to take the time to show you, who makes this all possible. So I know you're gonna get really embarrassed here, but please raise your hands, the SNA team. They're really like the heart. Yeah, we're super proud of the work you do. So I just wanted to take the time. And I was talking right before the panel, so I think this is like a trend. People are looking at data, but I was talking to someone really interesting that I hope to continue having conversations with that said, data never lies. And I said, hey, we have a twist for that here at Horatio and at the team, which is data knows best. So with that, I will, pass over the word again to Jared and Jarvis. So thank you.
So this is one of my favorite dashboards, and we thank Jarvis and the Classwallet team for letting us present. And whenever we're in our weekly sessions with our weekly meetings with our clients, and I see a client has our dashboards up, I know we're doing something right. And so Jarvis, yes, he has a lot of tabs, and if you know him, he does a lot of things at once, but he always comes back to the dashboard and always has ours up. So I think that's a testament to some of the work that we're doing.
So one of my favorite parts of the dashboard is when we first started, I was the typical, I got calls, I got chats, you need to be able to do it all at one time, be productive, give me my 90-20 service level, less than 5% abandoned, and I don't really care how you do it, just get it done, right? And then, of course it got bad. We were on calls every day, we were on escalations every day. And then the one thing that Jerry and I can agree on, how do we know what's going on? How do we keep our hands on the pulse? And I was like, show me something, right? Not that I didn't know it could be done, but as a partner, you want your partner to be solution driven. And that's one of the great things I can say about Horatio as someone who's been on the other side is what solution can I bring? And it's not always about bodies, it's about ideation and using data to provide insights. Most people use data, and we'll get in that habit to identify a problem. Data really shows you there's a solution. If there's a problem, there's a solution. There is no such thing as a problem without a solution, because we wouldn't know if it was a problem if we didn't know how to fix it, right? And that was something that Jared and I both worked on. So I was like, hey, can you just put something in one place where the operations team from your guys can come back and say, hey, Jarvis, when your product team releases a patch update at 9 o'clock at night, when we come in the morning, there's 1,000 tickets waiting. Can they do it? Can they spread it out? Things like that. And these dashboards have helped us come back and really get more streamlined with our product delivery and drive a better customer experience.
Yeah, and so obviously we track the basic metrics like volume, response times by channel, of course those, but we have some pretty cool ones.
Here's my favorite one once this loads, the by state. So we work at the government agencies and things like that, and states run a lot of their programs and legislation. My favorite state in the lower 48 happens to be Arizona. They're a big client of mine, over 800,000 users on our platform. but they drive me nuts, right? So whenever they make a change to how they're approving orders or the funding, we see an immediate impact on that. So I'm like, Jerry, can we get a heat map or something so I can literally go back and show that, hey, you caused my service level to go down today because you decided to give your staff the day off so they weren't approving orders, or you decided that Legos were no longer approved education items, so we had to just cancel all those. And the heat map shows that. So I literally know which state is causing my headaches that day, so I could go back to those state directors and my product team and say, hey, okay, let's make sure those orders get approved quickly so you don't have any calls.
You see the sizable bubbles around Arizona and Texas. Those are our fun states at the moment. But yeah, it's not just your favorite, Jarvis. Anytime we show this in the wireframes to a client, they need it. We also track this by tag. So again, I mean, we work very closely, and this is some of the work that Steph and the team does with our clients on a day-to-day basis. But we constantly are trying to think about ways to slice data in different ways to add value, so we can talk to the different teams and also really get a sense of what's going on across the org. And yeah, I mean, case priority and type, that's one. So those are custom fields within the CRM, right? So we're tracking by priority, we're tracking by tag or by type. And again, it just gives the CX team more information to arm themselves when they go into meetings with the rest of the company.
Yeah, all this data is designed to provide insights to the rest of the organization. So the CX team most people look at their customer service team as just a cost center. We got a product, we need somebody to support it. As the leader of CX in our organization, that's not for me. I also have the operational teams that support them as well. If we have a defective product, or if we wrote legislation that wasn't clear, or we're not precise in our service delivery, we're driving a negative customer experience. There are services and products out there where you never have to call or interact with the interaction. Our design, our implementation, and our customer journey should be mapped around that. So I use our contact center as a way to illuminate how could we be better in terms of our brand, our marketing, our product delivery, our service delivery, and even helping partner with the states that we provide these fundings for. How do they get better to their constituents in terms of funds and the type of programs they're offering these fundings for.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things that you mentioned, right, is using this information to map the full customer journey. And so, I mean, this is another area that I would urge everyone to leverage our team. We see this, we're in the numbers every day. I mentioned earlier, I have finance and legal under me, but this to me is where I get to have some fun, try to help our clients see value, and then also, I urge the rest of you out there, set up meetings. We can get to the bottom of things. We can tell you what we're seeing. We can propose solutions. And so you'll start to see a theme here, but it's not a one-size-fits-all dashboard that works. And it varies by industry. It varies by company. And so we're very happy to set up meetings and work very closely with you. And I think Jarvis, last thing while you're up here. So you obviously have seen a lot in the industry. You're taking a kind of different approach and really investing in CX for the org. But any advice that you have for some of the CX and ops leaders here in terms of how they should structure their meetings, or different data that they should look at, or I mean, you don't have to stay on the data theme, but just anything in general. I want people to hear your experience.
Or for me, it's whatever provides insights into the entire user experience. I about 3 years ago, at the start of the pandemic, I went to a seminar about design thinking and being intentional in your customer experience design. And we think, okay, I got a product, I got a service. Naturally, I need somebody to support it. I said, let's take a step back. As a user and as a customer ourselves, what is our ideal experience? I never have to get in contact with Amazon when I make an order. Or Uber Eats is pretty simple. Like, if an order gets there, first I provide feedback in the app. Only time I have a problem is it's cold or some of my fries are missing. Right? So things like that. So it's being intentional about your design and not expecting that customers have to contact you. Every way can I eliminate that taking your contacts and saying, hey, you know, password reset, that's just not common. We need to make it more intuitive and constantly innovating and improving that experience and being intentional on that. The next thing I would say is, Jose made it very important. It's your people. Your people are the front line. That's who they see. Investing in them, making sure they have all the tools that they need. Planning time for them to be off the phones and giving that feedback to the product team, because nobody knows best better than the people talking and speaking, communicating to your customers every day. Be intentional with that. And then lastly, you know, service level CSAT metrics, NPS is not a true representation of how well you're doing. You know, you gotta look at churn, you gotta look at advocates of the brand and reducing those interactions and getting more people buying instead of communicating on how great or bad you are. Because there's a large percentage of your population who are never gonna speak with you, they're just gonna leave.
And yeah, and last, Steph, do you want to talk a little bit about some of what you guys are working on?
Yes, I think, Jarvis, thank you so much. You do that so flawlessly. Like, you opened up pretty much the interesting things that we will be working on this year. So real-time analytics, we really want to give you data as fresh as possible, as immediate as possible. So we're working hard to make that true, you know, probably next 2 quarters. Ticket tags deep dive, NPS and satisfaction analysis, customer support revenue analysis, and then customer loyalty analysis, which I think ties back to what Jarvis is saying. Let's not only look at how they feel about the interaction, but let's look at what they're buying, how long have they been with us, have they continued to use the product and service. So we really want to work hand in hand with all of you guys to make this possible this year.
Can I add one more thing before we go?
Of course.
So we talked about strategic partnerships and being a partner here. So Classwallet, we started about a year ago, being our certification process for J.D. Power Associate Awards for Best in Class Customer Service. I went through that process 13 times before, but never in a B2G environment. Because of the partnership that we have with Horatio, Amato, and John, Classwallet was awarded their first customer service J.D. Power Awards in customer success. And that's a testament to the partnership we have here. Amato, stand up. John, stand up. But not only that, we were the first B2G company to get it in over 30 years. And not only did we get it, we scored the highest people who were scored in 2023. So that's the type of value you get with Horatio. I really appreciate you from Classwallet's executive team. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and if anyone wants to know more about that process, Jarvis is your man. It's a very rigorous process. The agents at all your vendors have to be interviewed and submit surveys, and not only that, it's a lot of documentation. So we can talk through that as well. But
For a nominal fee, I can give you the secret sauce.
there you go. Well, yeah, Jarvis, it's been great. Thank you very much again. We're very excited for what's to come on the data side.
So it's working hand in hand as well to kind of, with your consultants over on the CRM side, make sure that things are set up properly so that they fall in the proper category and then subcategory that you need. So the great thing about seeing that kind of thing is that you can see it right away, like, hey, this is something that I need a subcat for. Horatio team, you know, in this case, Amado, Jang, what do you think would be a good issue or sub branches, and then working together and going back to the CRM to do that, or grouping, you know, on our side. So we've done both things. You know, while you get that set up, we're more than happy to do something on our side as well to give you the visibility.
That was also a limitation on our side with our chatbot. You know, sometimes it can identify the customer intent, so it opens the case as issue in Salesforce for us. Something we'll talk about later, Loris, with our AI initiative.
Yeah, but we usually saw that with a tiered tagging system.
For us, we have a very, I don't know if it's a unique model, but our trainer here at Horatio is involved with my training staff at Classwallet. So every product meeting that we have, every change in service, every documentation, Jean sits in on a part of that, and he is a part of the team. Horatio is not considered a BPO to us. They are a partner. They're they're in our system and listed as employees and everything like that. So he's included and he's able to give feedback. He's testing on a weekly basis to ensure that, it is, how is this coming off? Do we have the right examples? How is it going to be understood for the Horatio employee versus the guy sitting in headquarters in the U.S. and making sure that, the training is efficient, effective, but most importantly, it gets to the end user in a seamless manner. So frequent involvement, John, you're getting ready to do this update. What do you think? And he's there. Okay, train your staff, give us feedback. And then we also survey the team on the effectiveness of training and how the content was delivered. So every training, we're sending out Qualtrics surveys to the trainees and say, hey, how effective was it? Did John do a good job? Was the content great? Okay, now you used it on the call or chat. Was it effective? Did it give you what you need? And taking that back to the training leader to make sure it's effective. Careful planning. So we know our funding cycles for the most part in terms of what's going to drive the volume. So that's what we really plan for. But I'm a firm believer that you overstaff for the service that you want to deliver. Like I don't staff my contact center to drive 50% margins. I staff my contact center to drive negative customer impact. So I'm always overstaffed by 10 to 12%, so I can continuously train, but most importantly, I can adjust for those volumes where something breaks on the IT side that has minimal impact to the service levels.
Thanks, everyone.